Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one of our special videos introducing one of our guest panelists for the Central Asia Trade Forum. We're absolutely delighted that Konstantin Aushev is joining us from KPMG today, and you'll be able to hear more from him when he's a guest on the Wednesday, the 6th of October session, which is focusing on transport and logistics and the impact of digitalization across Central Asia. So a very warm welcome, Konstantin.
Thank you. Hi, John. Hi, colleagues. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's get straight down to the question. So first of all, Konstantin, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in logistics and your experience really with digital and what you do at KPMG?
Yeah, of course. So actually, I have more experience in the digital world overall, and then particularly in the logistics sector. Well, I have about 10 years, slightly more background in IT, cyber, technology, advising different companies in the region of CIS, mainly in Kazakhstan and other Central Asian countries, on digital transformation, cyber security, new technologies, implementation, and so on. We have more clients in the area of public sector, financial sector in these countries, but also I have quite number of clients in logistics, in airlines, in railways, and even some interesting projects for customs checkpoints.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that rundown. Now, we know that KPMG have been responsible for a key bit of research, and we're going to hear about that at the Central Asia Trade Forum. But perhaps you could just give us a bit of an insight to the digital research work that you've been conducting across Central Asia with KPMG.
Yeah, John. Okay. Yeah, this study actually it was based on KPMG global reports and KPMG similar studies, where my colleagues studied the priorities and the challenges for those responsible for digital transformation. So we tried to discuss the similar topics with CIOs, CTO in our countries, in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and so we tried to did it in an open questions manner. So try to discuss personally with different with persons, with directors from different companies, different sectors, including logistics. What are their priorities? What are their common problems, common pitfalls, common challenges in implementation of digital technologies? What can I maybe discuss now and highlight some points? And well, actually, what surprised me was that we all have some common problems and common ideas, common views between all the regions in the world, but of course with some minor changes, minor different points maybe. Yeah. For example, I was surprised that despite despite the existence of many concerns regarding cloud technologies among companies in our region, I mean, this topic is of particular interest for these companies, and they are going to increase the investments in cloud technologies in the nearest future. Mainly in Kazakhstan, of course. In other countries, the situation is a little bit different, and business is interested in more in basic infrastructure investments, update of IT infrastructure, investment in network, in networks, in data warehouses, and so on. And another point that I was surprised, it's that the view on the skill set and that future employees should have. Again, we have some common things between all the countries, but actually the picture differs a lot between Kazakhstan and other countries in the region. I would highlight it more in my presentation, but I thought, for example, that In other countries, we have more focus on traditional programming skills, while in Kazakhstan, we saw more um, we saw that the companies are more keen on such contemporary technologies like low code, no code, some cloud technologies, and so on.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Really good introduction to your study. And obviously, people will hear more about that on the panel. Um, let's talk a little bit bigger picture now. So, just from your experience, where do you think digitalization will now go? Now, you can answer that from a Central Asia perspective or from a wider global perspective, but what do you think the pace of change is going to look like? Is it going to continue to be rapid post COVID, or is there going to be a bit more measured pace? What do you think, Konstantin?
Yeah, I see the question. Um, Well, actually, I think it should be rapid because, as we know, each new trend it takes less time than the previous trends to reach the hype and then to either to penetrate to all the businesses or disappear. And I think this situation will continue both globally and in our local markets. But if we talk to Central Asia region, here we see that people are even more keen on quick wins than in other countries. Of course, everywhere in the world, we can see that management is looking for greater return on investment and shorter payback periods. But in Central Asia, it's extremely higher rotation rate among companies management. Um, this trend is even brighter. Yes, so the penetration and adaptation rate could be not so high if technology cost will be quite higher, quite sensitive for the companies, for the business, because the managers try to focus on short investments, on short return of from these investments, while the technologies become more expensive often. Yeah, and if we talk to particular technologies, yeah, to particular trends in logistics, here I guess that the main point, the main trigger, the main driver, enabler, I don't know how to better characterize it, yeah, is a trend on track and trace projects on serialization, yeah, because we see that globally and here in Central Asia, more and more products are required to be track and traced from the beginning, from the manufacturer until the end customer, yeah, and consumer. And actually, this trend it result in many other technologies that need to be implemented, both in retailers, in manufacturers, and of course in logistic operators.
Okay, thank you, Konstantin. Again, a really good answer. We've talked so far a lot about the technology and about the digitalization sort of process and the quick wins that business may look for, but there's a human factor here as well, isn't there? So what kind of things are going to have to happen in the way people work in Central Asia, their work ethic, their work pace, changes in work culture? Has there got to be something going on in that space as well to get the most of the digital toolbox?
Um, well, quite interesting. Actually, still difficult question for me because now we can see a big difference between users' culture, between customers in different region, in different countries within the region, and within the different cities, different sub-regions in Central Asia. Yeah. So different culture, different user behavior, and so on. Yeah, different digital maturity, and it is quite difficult to answer for overall for the whole region. Yeah, but if I try to do this, yeah, I think I'm quite optimistic. Yeah, and so I think that the life should become easier. Yeah, but we like everywhere in the world, our consumers become more more demanding, yeah, in terms of quality, in terms of velocity of the service, yeah, and this trend will continue. Also, another point is that governments take take a lot of steps into towards the digitalization of all the sectors of economy in all these countries. Yeah, almost every week we have some conversations with government authorities in all these countries: Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, and they invest a lot of time, resources now in artificial intelligence, in blockchain projects, in digital assets, and so on. Yeah, so this all these trends, all these technologies, they should find implementation in, for example, logistics sector. Yeah, because if we take again serialization, yeah, we should. It is this field where we can find the application, for example, of smart contracts. Yeah, to realize some different interesting DVP models, some different tracing solutions, and so on. So for the customer point of view, I think their life should be should become more convenient. We will demand require a better service, but at the same time, of course, we are becoming more aware of different risks associated with technologies like cybercrime, like IT fraud, and so on, like disclosing of our personal data, and so on. But here, I think, and I see, and our actually KPMG reports confirm this, that in terms of personal personal cyber protection, the situation is not so bad. Yeah, and now when we are discussing the companies, they report that they did not experience attacks that resulted in some losses of money, of data, of end customers, yeah, of individuals. But at the same time, they see and we see as their advisors, yeah, that cybercrime become more mature, and cyber attacks took more time, start taking more time, but they result in greater losses greater losses for the companies, not for the end customers, yeah, but for the companies as a whole. And here, yeah, I see that risks are becoming more important.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Konstantin. And I think what you're summarizing there is that there is kind of a human impact here. So whether it's the end customer, whether it's reskilling, or whether it's protecting, businesses as customers, there's kind of a bit of a golden thread running through this, and we'll pick up on that again on the panel. Before it's time to go, perhaps is there anything else that you just want to share from your own thinking or from your research, just as a taster ahead of the panel in a couple of weeks' time? Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, maybe I would, I know one point here. Maybe I would just give you some quote, yeah, from one of the respondents.
Yes. Yep.
That when we were discussing the recent trends, recent attention to big data projects, to data analytics, and here he said, well, guys, there are. It is already about 5 years when all the companies, all banks, huge businesses, telco operators, and so on, and they say that they do have big data and they do analyze big data, but what we receive as a result of this analysis is just an SMS that hey, you have a discount in a neighborhood bar for the beer, yeah, but you would go to this bar even without this SMS, and and that's all for big data analysis. And actually, it really depicts the situation in the region, but we see that changes are coming, and we will discuss it in the presentation.
Excellent. So there's plenty to look forward to, everyone. If you're coming along and joining us virtually at the Central Asia Trade Forum, again, Wednesday, the 6th of October, you'll hear certainly more from Konstantin as he unpacks some of his research and also takes part in the discussion. Konstantin, we're out of time, but thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. And we look forward very much to seeing you
Thank
next
you.
at the CATF. Thank you.
Yeah, see you.